The Eagles beat the Chiefs 20-17. They are officially 2-0. They go into Kansas City. They beat Mahomes and Andy again. What a win for the Eagles. Not the prettiest, but a big one. Let's discuss it. Like I said, not a pretty game. Honestly, one of the uglier games I've seen the Eagles play in a little bit. It's been a little bit since we've had this ugly of a game. And, you know, you'll take a win. You'll take a win. It's one of those wins where, look, I'm happy we won. But there's so many things that I want to nitpick, and I will get into. So I will talk about that later. But at the end of the day, you got to keep the main thing, as Jalen Hurts says. You have a dub. You have a dub. You're now 2-0. The Eagles are 2-0. And again, that was just huge. It was huge going in there. You know how bad the Chiefs fans wanted that one as well. I mean, you just got embarrassed on national TV back in February against the Eagles. You know, they tied it up when it comes to Super Bowls. We're now 1-1 against each other. And again, there was probably a ton of juice at that stadium going in, and the Eagles just blocked out all the noise. They still got it done. And I'm just pretty happy that at the end of the day, as ugly as it was, they still kept the main thing, and they were looking to go 1-0 this week, and they did. And like I said, they're 2-0 against a pretty respectable opponent, in my opinion. A crazy stat that I saw yesterday, and it's just something I thought worth highlighting before we get into the positives and the negatives for the Eagles. Man, this is just insane to me. The Chiefs are now 0-3 in their last 3 games for the first time ever in the Mahomes era. Obviously, going back to the Super Bowl, they lost the week previous to the Chargers, and now they lose to the Eagles. That's actually insane when you really think about it. They've never lost 3 games straight with Mahomes, and Mahomes has been the quarterback now since 2018, starting. That's just insane to me. And another one, which is pretty much the same stat, but very similar but still different. They've never started the season 0-2, and the Eagles are now the first team to make them start 0-2. Kansas City hasn't been in this position, and if you want to hear more about Kansas City, I plan on making a video about them. So again, if you end up liking this one, look at the channel later in the week. I will be making a video on the Chiefs because, again, this is unprecedented territory for Kansas City. They have not been in this situation since Mahomes has been at the helm. So I think that's something that's worth discussing and worth making a video on. But again, this video is going to be more focused about the Eagles. But I just wanted to talk about those couple stats real quick before we get into the game, because I just thought that was absolutely insane. And that's honestly a credit to Kansas City for how good of an organization they are. But still, just absolutely wild. But let's get into the game now. So there were a couple positives that I think you can take away from this performance for the Eagles, even though it was so ugly on offense. And we're going to start with the offense today. Some of the positives: they scored when it mattered. And they didn't score a lot of points, obviously, 20 points, 2 of those from field goals. But you get that Saquon touchdown right before the end of the first quarter. That was huge, and that was a great run by him, great blocking. Overall, I really loved that. And again, just showing, hey, we can still continue to dominate you guys in the trenches, even though that's something that they did really good, honestly. I would say in this game and in the Super Bowl last year, KC did a really good job of shutting down Saquon. So I was curious, again, how is Saquon going to do against Kansas City heading into this week? But he got it open and got it started with the rushing touchdown to go into that first quarter to end it. That was huge. And then again, they score later into the game with the tush push. That was big. And again, it wasn't pretty. They could have scored more points. Obviously, I would have loved to see that. But still, it was enough points to beat your opponent, so I'm never going to be mad about that. Now the passing game. And man, am I going to have some complaints with this passing game. But I'm going to highlight some positives. They at least did get A.J. Brown more involved in the game. Now, it was only on slant routes, which, again, I will talk about in a little bit. But still, they made it an effort to get A.J. Brown more involved, which I like. You want to get your guys, involved in the game. Not saying that A.J. Brown isn't going to be a team player, but if he's getting one catch every game, yeah, he's probably going to be disengaged. He's probably not going to be happy. It's just, human nature. So I'm glad that they got the ball to him. And I thought Devonta Smith came up big. I know he didn't have a ton of catches, and he even actually dropped one of those deep balls, but he had 2 huge deep ball catches when Hurts was getting hit with the blitz, and he just threw it up on a one-on-one coverage. Great play by Devonta, just knowing how to use his body, positioning, everything, the whole 9. I thought it was beautiful. And he made some huge catches. One of those was near the end zone as well. So I really liked what I saw from Smitty. This guy is a warrior. He's just an overall player. This kid, he makes plays. He doesn't care how it gets done. He just makes plays. He shows up, he shuts up, and he doesn't make a lot of noise. That's not his game. But again, when his number is called, which again, you don't know when it's going to be called in this offense because of all the mouths you have to feed. When it's called, he always makes a play. And I just thought that he made a huge couple plays down the stretch yesterday. Like I said, those deep contested catches where he knew how to position himself, those were huge, and I wanted to give him his flowers. The offense also had no turnovers. That was big. Again, no turnovers this game, and they didn't have any turnovers the week before. So far, knock on wood, the Eagles have not turned the football over yet, which is big. And again, that's what made them so successful last year. Not that it's, again, all about last year, but you want to continue to build off of, what worked for you last year. And again, this is not the most complex thing. If you don't turn the football over, you're most likely going to be in a lot better of a position than the other team is. So keeping the ball away from Kansas City, they have some pretty good defenders over there as well. I thought that was a really good thing. And again, you're on the road. You weren't in the link. Again, holding onto the ball and not giving Kelce any other opportunities, that was huge. And the last positive I have is they still cannot stop the tush push. Now, I will be completely honest here. Yesterday was the first time as an Eagles fan, now I'm completely biased. I've literally made a video about the tush push and me celebrating that it didn't get banned. And I'm still happy that it's not banned because, we're the best in the league. We run it the best. No one does it like us. But at the same time, it was pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. It was rough yesterday. And I don't mean necessarily from a standpoint of, we were spamming the tush push. I could care less if we're spamming the tush push. It more came from the officiating standpoint. Why was Tyler Steen allowed to, move right before the play was snapped and the center was giving the ball to Jalen? That type of stuff, you can't defend it because I know if that was going against the Eagles, I would be pissed. I think Dean Blandino, hopefully I'm saying his name right, he even said it's really getting to the point where it's a really difficult play to officiate, and I can't blame officials for having a tough one with it because there's so much going on in such a limited area. You have to spot the football. You have to trust what your eyes are seeing. It's hard. It's hard. I know they put the little chip in the ball now, but still, it's a tough one to officiate. And I think yesterday, honestly, if it does get banned in the offseason, I think yesterday was the game that at least alerted everyone that maybe had voted for the tush push to stay, like the other NFL owners, to be like, oh, maybe we made a mistake because, I don't know. I'm all for it being a dominant play, but when you're allowing players to move before the ball is snapped, yeah, we kind of have a problem there. Again, I am an Eagles fan. I'm biased, but I still have to be neutral in that standpoint. It's just not fair to the other team, so I didn't love that. Now onto the positives for the defense. Man, the defense played good yesterday. I thought that they played a lot better than they did against Dallas. Now, again, KC was down multiple receivers, so there really weren't many receiving threats, if at all, out there. I mean, Kelce, let's keep it a buck. He's pretty old at this point, though he did make some good plays against you. But still, I thought this unit showed up when they mattered, and in big situations as well in the red zone. And I just thought overall that they did a pretty good job of holding the Kansas City receivers in check. I mean, I saw a stat yesterday when they had it up on the graphic. We were like almost, I think, 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Mahomes had like 67 passing yards, and some of those were really just to Kelce. Like, they did a really good job of keeping the KC receivers in check for the most part. Yes, there is the touchdown that I will get into in the defensive negative notes that I have. But overall, I thought that at least the secondary did a pretty solid job, and they kept the guys in check for the most part. And speaking of the secondary, I got to shout out the rookie, Makuba. This kid made some plays yesterday. Now, yes, he did get trucked by Patrick Mahomes, which pissed me off in the moment, but he responded on that 3rd and 1 where he could have not made that tackle. Man, he made an aggressive tackle and one that prevented the Chiefs from getting the first down. That was huge by him. And then, of course, the kid was already having turnovers in preseason. He's in the right spot at the right time. Mahomes has, honestly, a perfect ball to Kelce right in the end zone on a slant, and Kelce just doesn't catch it. Kind of bobbles it a little bit. Makuba picks it off, runs it. I wish he would have gone into the house. I can't believe he got caught by an offensive lineman. Are you kidding me, kid? But regardless, in his second game, again, on the road against that an elite of a quarterback, he was making plays, and he responded to getting trucked. I liked what I saw from the kid. I like that he's stepping up because we're really going to need to continue to rely on him. Again, you don't have Gardner Johnson anymore. you're a little bit more vulnerable at that safety position. So having him step up in those big moments and kind of get some of this stuff out of the way, I just really like that he was at least showing that he had the mentality to overcome some shortcomings and then really make some positive plays for the team. It was great seeing Zadarius Smith as well. He was involved in a sack. Man, you can see that he still really has a lot of pop when he's coming off the edge. He definitely looks like an aggressive edge rusher, and he's been doing this for a while now. I mean, I remember last year when the Lions got him, I was pretty pissed because I was like, oh, this is like, such a good thing for them. Like that was, I think, that was before they had the Hutchinson injury, but I was like, man, Detroit's getting better at the edge. This guy still got it. I mean, he had a decent season. If I remember correctly, he was with the Ravens a couple of years ago. Maybe I'm wrong. I know he was on the Browns for a little bit. He's kind of been all over the place. Regardless, he looks like a good fit so far. It's just more depth for the team. I just like seeing that in his first week with the team, he was involved on a sack. That was pretty big for us. And again, with the D-line, I just thought that they did a really good job of kind of keeping the run game in check for the Chiefs. Now, when I say the run game, I'm specifying running backs. We will talk about Mahomes in a little bit. They did a really good job. They held KC to 55 rushing yards for their running backs. I mean, they just really didn't even have any real threat, in my opinion, for the running backs for KC, and that really was forcing Mahomes to run and get out of the pocket and try to make something happen in the passing game. So, again, I thought the D-line looked good. Guys were getting involved. The Eagles had another sack. I just liked what I saw. It was good seeing Jalen Carter actually play in a football game. Jordan Davis had some plays. I just liked what I saw from the D-line yesterday. And my last positive for the team overall is I liked seeing that Jake Elliott hit 2 50-yard field goals or 50-plus yard field goals. That was huge. Again, in a big spot on the road, we need you to make these kicks. He makes them. And again, knock on wood, you know how these kickers go. Like things can change any second. But so far, he has not had any of the yips that he had last year. And again, he came up in the playoffs. So, he came through in the playoffs. It didn't really matter. But still, I'm glad that he has at least cleaned that up because I don't want to worry about my kicker from 50-plus yards out. And so far, he's really showed me that I don't even need to worry about that. So really wanted to just give Jake his flowers there. Now on to the negatives for this offense. And I got to start with them. Man. It was, I was getting pissed off yesterday. Patullo. I heard this on Broads Media yesterday. He did a post-game reaction, and he said this, and it made me really think, this is like a little bit more concerning than I was expecting. Why is the play calling this conservative and I guess this basic when this guy was in the building last year? I know he's not Kellen Moore, obviously, but at the same time, you saw what worked. Maybe this was just a game plan this week. I just did not like it. It was so conservative. It was so ugly. I just didn't like it. And the lack of creativity overall was just the icing on the cake. It just was not good enough, in my opinion. And again, it was good getting the ball to AJ, but did we only know how to scheme him up on a slant route? That was it. It was just AJ Brown slant, AJ Brown slant, AJ Brown slant. Okay, can we do something else? Can we run, a couple drag routes? Can we get him on a fade? Can we do something? I don't know. I did not like that. Even Smitty, yes, he made those big catches on those deep balls, but okay, we're just putting him on fade routes. I don't think they did a great job of picking up the blitz, which I know that's a tough assignment going against Spagnuolo out of all defensive coordinators. I just didn't like what I saw. And it just overall, I'm not going to lie, it's reminding me of Brian Johnson, and I don't want to see that again. I know it's early. I'm going to give them time. I'm not going to try to panic, but I'm going to say I'm slightly concerned about the offensive play calling because right now it's just too simple. It's too basic. There's no creativity. We all know this offense can be better. And again, they didn't play in preseason. I understand that. But it can be better, and it needs to be better moving forward, in my opinion. And I have a graphic that I will put up on the screen here that is going to show how basic this offense was and how just predictable it was. 11 plays from pistol. The Eagles ran the ball 10 times. They passed once. 14 plays from under center. The Eagles ran all 14 plays. They did not pass a single time from under center. 33 plays from shotgun. 7 runs for 26 passes. That is a problem. That is so predictable. Every single team's going to look at this and be like, okay, so we know exactly what you're doing. Do we know exactly the play you're running? Probably not, but this is just predictable. This is too predictable in the NFL. So, in my opinion, this needs to be addressed heading into this week against the Rams. I'm not going to settle for this. The Eagles' offense can be better. Just some slight nitpicks I have for the Eagles defense. First off, the coverage bust. Reed, I don't know what happened there. I don't know why he went so low. He should have been deeper. Quinion was anticipating safety help. It wasn't there. It was a blown coverage. I thought that was a little annoying just because I thought the Eagles had a really good defensive performance overall, but then there's this wide open touchdown. That was a little annoying. Clean it up. I'm not going to worry about it overall. That was just a very, very small thing. The biggest concern, though, for me yesterday, and I think they will fix this because, honestly, I think it was really more Mahomes relying on this because there was nothing in the pass game. There was nothing in the running game. He had to extend plays, and he did a very good job of rushing yesterday. He had, if I remember correctly, 7 rushes for 66 yards and a touchdown. Eagles obviously got to be better at stopping the run, and they've shown that they've been able to do that with Vic Fangio. I mean, they did a pretty good job against Lamar Jackson last year. They kept Mahomes in the pocket last year as well. Again, these are different teams at this point, but still they've shown that they can at least handle this type of stuff. But still, man, I just felt like they were getting gashed at times by the Mahomes run, and he was just really killing them, especially in that second quarter. I mean, he was just running. That one drive where he scored on, he just kept running, and I was like, guys, we have to adapt. We have to make an adjustment, and it just felt like it was coming a little too late. Thank God they cleaned it up, but man, I was just like, what is going on here? We just can't be doing this. And my last negative is very, very small. It's still important, but Adoree Jackson is still getting picked on. He didn't look great this game. I guess it's not the worst thing just because they didn't really let the KC receivers get open that much and really impact the game. But still, this guy is a problem. I want to know how the Eagles are going to address this. If they do, I don't know. I don't feel confident with this guy. And again, we'll have to see. But this upcoming week where we have Devonta Adams and Puka, Adoree Jackson is going to be getting cooked this week. So it is a concern for me. Thankfully, it wasn't the biggest thing in this game, but it's still a concern moving forward. And that's all I have in this game. Again, ugly game from the Eagles. But the Eagles are 2-0. I'll take it. I don't know. Maybe I just have so much PTSD from the 23 season where they were winning games, but it was not pretty, and it was close, and they just didn't look good. But I'm going to trust them because they have now won the Super Bowl. I'm just like, guys, this needs to be better. This needs to be better. I think they know that. Very impressed with the defense overall. Thought they looked better than last week. Offense took a step back, but they at least got it done when it mattered most. I need to see some improvement for the offense next week. But again, we'll see how that goes, and you guys know I'll be breaking that down. But that's all I have for this one. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you have any thoughts down below on the Eagles' performance or, I guess, KC's woes, drop them in the comments down below. If you like this video, feel free to, or if you like my channel, feel free to subscribe. And I have short-term content over on TikTok in my description, so check that out. But yeah, if you made it to this far in the video, I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.